Hi, everybody. My name is C. Robert Cargill. I'm a screenwriter and a novelist and a former film critic, and also, as declared by the commander himself, a lieutenant of Megaforce.
You are.
Yes.
Yes.
And many years ago,
What name did we give you? What name did we give you?
you didn't. You instead gave me a rank, which only the commander has a rank, except now I have a rank as well. So you did not.
What?
I did not.
No. You need a name, man. You need a name.
Look, I agree, and but only the commander can give you your name. So
okay, Smokey.
Well, we'll see
your
how,
name is
we'll
your name's Smokey. That just came to me. You're Smokey.
I'll take Smokey. I'll be Lieutenant Smokey. But hey, so yeah, I am. I'm here because I'm longtime fan of the festival. And I've been many times, and Chris Dortch, who runs the festival, knows that I am an undying lover of Megaforce. I have my signed poster right next to me, signed by Barry many years ago when we were at a con together. And when he heard, when Dortch saw this documentary, he instantly messaged me and he said, "You got to see this thing, and I need you to do the interview."
Wow,
great.
So, of course, I, as many of you watching this, probably love the documentary, and so we're gonna pick Bob and Barry's brains here for a bit and talk about the things that the doc didn't go into. Bob, I want to start with one question.
All right.
The movie left me with. How did you convince the prop owner to give up the van and allow you to refurbish the van? What's that story?
Man.
Just
yeah.
At the end.
It was definitely an odyssey. So in my movie, I own two Megaforce dune buggies, and while I was up there, when I discovered the TACCOM, I kept asking the owner's buddies. I was like, "So what? He really never sells anything?" And he's like, "Oh my God, no, he never sells anything, but he likes trading stuff." So essentially what I did is I came home from that adventure and I emailed him and I was like, "Hey, I'll trade you one of my Megaforce dune buggies, because how many Megaforce dune buggies do you actually need?" And he said, "That sounds great." So I traded him a Megaforce dune buggy for the TACCOM, and of course it was in Canada. So crossing the border into Canada with a fully armed dune buggy and then leaving Canada with this massive 6-wheel tank, I spent many hours at the border crossing in little scary rooms while they were interrogating me.
Really? I didn't know that. Did you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. And they let you in.
They did let me in. It was they kept, they're like, "Well, these are vehicles, so, we have to tax you and you need IDs." And I was like, "Well, actually, these are more like lawn furniture." Right? Like they don't have lights, turn signals, license plates, or even titles. They're custom built.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took a lot to convince them that they were movie props, not something that I was going to drive around. Although
did you give him one of the running ones, or did you give him one?
I did. Yeah. I gave him the one that wasn't fully original. The one guy I mostly hand built myself initially, because I only had the Megaforce dune buggy body for that one, and I hand built all the guns and the chassis and everything for that. So, as far as an archival relic goes, the one that I kept is one of the hero buggies that has all the cool stuff on it and totally works. So
I don't get it. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you reproduce these things that were probably cheaper than crap way back then when they made it, right? I mean, they were just pulling pieces from different things, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, I read each vehicle cost $30,000 to build in 1981. If you can believe that.
$30,000 to build?
Yeah.
Not the motorcycles, the dune buggies.
The dune buggies, yeah.
Because the motorcycles, what were they worth? I mean, what they were built on? What?
They were built on an old Suzuki. Well, it was a new Suzuki at the time. Their new prototype. It's called a Suzuki RM125, which for those of you watching can see in the background. This is actually Barry's motorcycle from the movie.
Yeah,
I can believe that. which I've actually ridden more recently than he has. He keeps insisting he wants to ride it, and I'm not sure. I'm not
going to ride it. I'll kill myself. What are you kidding me?
Oh, now you change your story when we're talking to somebody else.
That's why this movie was all about stunts and stuntmen, and Hal Needham, who didn't have a clue, about the script, but he certainly knew how to jump a motorcycle over, anything, and I was thinking the other day, that you showed me a picture of me up on a lift, some kind of a jury rig thing on the motorcycle with no safety belts, nothing. It was the beginning of the turning over thing, right? I mean,
that's right.
Leading of that. And then they went from that real shot into whatever that zircon thing, or what is that called?
Introvision,
right? And you showed me the picture of it, and that would never fly today. I mean, you couldn't put an actor.
It shouldn't have flown back then either. I mean, you were 16 feet up off the hood of a Ford F-150 driving across the desert on a prototype motorcycle.
Yeah. On
something not been that famous yet, or they would have been more worried.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I had a 3-picture deal, didn't I, or a 2-picture deal? You've seen my
3-picture deal, yeah.
3-picture deal, which ended up being a 1-picture deal.
It did.
Yeah, I know.
So
Isn't
far.
that sad?
So far.
Yeah. So, well, you have the other script. Are we? Bob and I talk, and we love each other, and we could just chatter on for hours and hours about stuff that I don't ever remember, and he, knows everything about on Megaforce. And the question, I guess, is how did you find me to get this thing made?
Yeah. Well, I'll try to keep it short. Barry was working on another independent film because Barry loves working on independent films
that don't make any money. I'll just add that.
Yeah, that don't make any money, and so he did this film for a couple of folks, and of course they did a crowdfunding thing to finish their film, and as one of their film perks, they said if you pledge $250, Barry Bostwick will do audio commentary all through the original Megaforce, right? And I was the only guy who paid for that on their Indiegogo campaign, so they were kind of emboldened, they were on the hook with me, and I reached out to them and I was like, I know a little something about Megaforce if you guys need help. And they're like, oh my God, that'd be great, because Barry doesn't remember. We've never seen it. So I kind of horned my way in as a classic nerd stalker. So the first time I met Barry was actually at his house. I flew to California and did this screen commentary over a bottle of tequila one afternoon. It was amazing, and the rest is history.
Did you have in your mind then that you were going to make a film or a documentary, or did you just want to meet me and bug the hell out of me?
Well, the second part first, for sure. At that time, I was considering making a coffee table book because I've got so much archival materials and stuff like that, like a nerd book. And then once I won you over, I was just like, holy cow, I've got the guy, which is kind of the key to any sort of making of documentary, right? Like, if you're making a RoboCop documentary and you don't get Peter Weller, like, how good can it be? So I was just like, oh, I've got him teed up.
I was just with Peter Weller this weekend, by the way, and he comes up to me and he says, Barry, we had a drink 50 years ago in New York, and I said, I remember Peter. Sure, I remember him. He's like this. He's a doctor now. Do you know that?
Yeah, you have to say Dr. Weller now as well.
Yeah, that's how, at Comic-Cons, he's Dr. Peter Weller. And he just holds court about Renaissance paintings and stuff. The very interesting guy.
Yeah.
For about a second and a half. Yeah.
Do you have anything to say, Cargill? Or
I've got plenty to say, but I'm a fly on the wall with this. I love the movie so much, and I love this doc. But yeah, I've got you led into a really good question that I have for you. So this movie is we're 44 years old now. And we've lost several of the people that made the film, Hal Needham, Persis Kambata, Henry Silva, Edward Mulhare. If there's one person you could have interviewed for this and gotten for the film, who else would you have talked to and what would you have asked them?
Oh yeah, that's great. Well, it would definitely be Henry Silva. And
you wouldn't have done Persis? I would have done Persis.
Henry Silva. Everything you said about her, I figured. I
said nothing about her because I never talked to her. We were on a set. She was a foreigner, for Christ's sake. No, she was very pretty. But I really didn't have anything to say to her. Henry and I became sort of buddies for 5 weeks. But okay, go on. I don't mean to cut you off, but I knew you were gonna go on too long, so I just thought I would just cut it.
I should. Like in all the press releases that I've collected over the years, there was a Henry Silva interview where he said he particularly loved Megaforce because he wasn't super evil, which of course he was kind of typecast as. Mm-hmm. So him being able to kind of use his comedic chops in the way that he did in the film.
I didn't know.
Yeah. I was really curious about that. And what's so fascinating is he did a documentary for something, and I reached out to the documentary filmmaker, and I got Henry Silva's phone number. And of course, with these things, like I just cold called him, right? And I got his nurse on the phone.
Nurse,
because he passed away probably 6-7 months after this phone call I made.
Oh,
and it was really interesting. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, he's not doing interviews anymore." And I was like, "Okay, well, wish him the best and stuff." And it was really weird, right? Because like you want to get all these people for your movie, but they are people going through things, and that was one of the few times in this film where like I kind of felt intrusive and almost a little bit yucky that I was like chasing this guy down.
But you didn't feel that way when you came to my house?
No. Well, if I had to have you, so it didn't matter.
You had to have me, but you didn't have to have him. Okay, I got it. So
it's interesting this comes up this way because it's one of the things I find so interesting about the documentary from my personal perspective, because I am both a filmmaker and a hardcore fanboy. I'm in both fields. And so I've had both the experience of fanning out on people and fanning out about properties that I'm in love with, and then also having people have fanned out on stuff of mine that didn't go well, or I'm not a huge fan. I've made a movie that I am publicly, open about the fact that I just hate. But I've also sat down with a director I really admire and whose work I aspire to write like, and turns out he's a fan of that movie of mine. And was very disappointed to find out that I didn't like it. It's interesting to watch the back and forth here, because I know, me and Barry have sat and we've gotten a chance to chat. And seeing it from two perspectives, from Barry's perspective as a job he had 44 years ago that people still ask him about, and to Bob, it's a centerpiece of his life, something that's bonded with whole memories with his children and adventures he's had. And, when anybody who sits down to have a drink with Bob is going to hear about Megaforce. I'm willing to bet.
I mean, I think the more interesting question really is, like it makes perfect sense why I'm here. What's always fascinating and such a miracle is just why Barry chose to indulge this fanboy who started chasing him around like a puppy dog.
I was bored.
Nice.
I had nothing to do at the time for that next, what was it, 4 years that we worked on this thing? 3 years.
Yeah. No, it was 4.5. Yeah.
It was 4.5 years we worked on this. You took me everywhere. I mean, you would show up at conventions and we would have to do these little sound bites and little film clips. And then you took me to that guy with all those, in the second floor of his warehouse. Where was that? Where you bought some?
That was in San Dimas, California, the abandoned hotel that he's filled to the ceiling.
What an interesting guy. But I love those guys. They're all like, there's like, what is it, dumpster divers, but with real stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that. I love that because he was a fan of so many things. I forget his name. What was his name?
John Ruppau. Yeah.
John Rupp. Yeah. And he had such interesting stuff upstairs that you had to wade through and not trip over, you know? But that was just one of my little adventures with you. And I found them all fascinating and interesting. And actually it had not a lot to do with the film so much, because I didn't think you were ever going to finish it. You know, we were just becoming friends and hanging out and doing stuff and going places. And you were making me do silly things at Comic Cons or wherever. And I knew that, but I had an instinct and sense that you were going to actually finish this thing, because I looked at all the crap that you had in the background, like here, you know, I'm going, Jesus, this guy has devoted his life to this. And, you know, I've had a lot of, like with Rocky Horror Picture Show. I mean, I have a fan base there that is as rabid as you are, but they're not collecting motorcycles, you know, they're just collecting high heels. And there's a huge difference between somebody who is committed as you are and somebody who has 5 feather boas in his closet, you know, or her closet.
See, I'm in the Venn diagram there as well, because I did Rocky Horror over 500 times and met my wife there. You know, the woman I've been with for 31 years. I picked her up at a Rocky Horror Picture Show on a Saturday night.
It's a good litmus test for if you're going to get along with somebody, right?
True. Yeah. You know, I don't know if you remember this, Barry, but when you were at the con, there was technical issues during the showing of Rocky Horror, and you invited me up, and I got to be your Janet for Damn It, Janet. And that was that is a highlight for me. So,
thank you. I remember that. Yeah.
So here's a question I have for you, Barry, in terms of this. You know, the movie did not go over well. You know, it was dropped in a packed summer, the most packed summer in movie history. 82 was just amazing. In fact, I'm looking behind you, Bob, and you've got one of the posters from that summer as well. You got
Wrath of Khan, yeah.
So at what point did the fandom start emerging for Megaforce to where people started coming to you to talk to you about Megaforce in ways that are other than just the, you know, the jibes of like, oh, you know, like a friend busting your balls or something? What point did genuine fans start coming to you? Where did they show up? Was that very early on? Was that, you know, really kind of more this century? Like where did that happen?
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, it really didn't start happening for me until I became friends with Bob, you know, because all of a sudden it became Megaforce this, Megaforce that. You know, I never had a relationship with Hal Needham past, you know, the time we left the set. And I just sort of forgot about it, because the last real memory I had of it was a screening at, was it 20th Century, or was it, I don't know where it was. It was, but it was like the industry screening at the studio. And I had my parents there and everything, and I was walking around like this was going to be, you know, the next Star Wars. And like the producer of this says in your documentary, and then it just went flat, and my nothing was picked up, and the producer, you know, was writing bad letters about me that you have, Bob, you know, saying that I wasn't participating or something. What was that letter from?
That was Albert Ruddy, because you were giving him a bunch of shit around Mattel Toys not wanting to do your likeness on the action figure.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was right, probably. You know,
you were totally right. Yeah, they were just going to use some big Jim action figure. Like, he didn't even have a beard. It was terrible.
I see. Yeah. And I had very strong managers at the time who probably, you know, fronted for me on that, and, you know, said, well, no, you don't need to go any further with this, because, first of all, they're not picking up your option at this point for the second and third film. and you're just going to make money for Mattel, I guess, in some way. So I actually said, don't use my image or don't use. But did they put anything out finally?
Not action figure wise. No. They just did the Matchbox cars, and then everything blew up in a very sad way, right? Like they were originally going to do a Megaforce bicycle, and
they had one of the Atari video game.
Oh yes, and they did the Atari video game. That's right.
Which I love that you only see him for like 1.5 seconds on screen, but Bryan Cranston is the star of the Megaforce. Yeah, the guy who sits down in the chair, that's Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, when he was a young actor hoofing it for for commercials. But yeah, if there were toys, I would have them. The Megaforce has been something that everybody sends me. So I have like 4 copies of the 707 soundtrack on vinyl that people just randomly send me. I've got the event that you went to, 2012. I got so many emails for not being there. I have 3 separate signed patches signed by Hal Needham that people sent me because they got a patch and they're like, Cargill's going to want this. And so I literally have a little pile of stuff that people have sent me over the years.
Oh, that's fabulous. I finally go on.
No, you go ahead, Barry.
No, you just go ahead, Bob. This is your idea. This was all your idea. I'll just sit here and
it's amazing how many closeted Megaforce fans are out there based on our original analysis of actually if I was going to make a movie about Megaforce, because who would care? And and it's turning out like Barry and I just keep unearthing more fans, and of course the conceit of my movie is giving people permission to kind of fly their flag, whether it's Megaforce or anything else they love, right?
There's been a lot of female interest I've had at some of these conventions in the last year or two. I'm always astonished that they have somewhat, and many times, the same kind of attraction to it as the 12-year-old boys did, But maybe they were attracted to the 12-year-old boys, and then the boys took them to it, and then all of a sudden they got locked into it in some way. I don't know.
I mean, it is a very revealing outfit, Barry. Having had someone make one for me and wear it, and then realize that there are design problems with it, I could see why the women like it.
Oh well, but yes, not the 12-year-olds. I mean, that's just a little too creepy.
No, but
right now, no. I have the middle-aged and above middle-aged crowd. Yeah, that look at it. And also the gay crowd. I mean, I have at my table at some of these conventions, a nice black and white of me in the costume. And that sells like hotcakes to the queer community.
Totally.
So Bob, I got one more question for you before we duck out. So you built everything for Megaforce. You've got it all now. If there's another movie you're going to refurbish a vehicle from, what would it be?
It would be the 1976 Sterling kit car from the movie Condor Man. If I could find it.
Right.
Wow.
That's a deep cut, right? It's even deeper than Megaforce. So I don't know if Michael Crawford would be into hanging out with me as much as Barry, but I would love to see that, right? Because that car's missing, right? So it's a mystery, and I love a good mystery. So yeah, it's either that or Airwolf the helicopter. So.
The battle truck from Land of the Dead came up a few months ago, and
everybody
reached out to me. Yeah. Well, I'm also a big Michael Beck fan, so but it was one of those things where I was like, I told my wife, I'm like, honey, the battle truck's available for $75,000, and it was just where are you going to park it, Cargill? Where are you going to park it? Where's it? And I'm like, well, we'll find us. And she, no. You figure out where you can park it first, because you're not going to find anywhere. It's like,
no, my advice is you buy it first and then you figure out where to park it. That's been working well.
How have you convinced your wife to go along with us all these years?
She backed the entire play. She knew what she was getting into a long time ago. So yeah, she was definitely the cornerstone of saying, you know, quit your job and go for it, right? Like she bought me the camera, and so yeah, like, you know, her, and of course my kids, and you know, all my buddies in the film, right? Like it really is a group effort to right, because I mean nobody else cares about Megaforce, including Barry for the most part, and
Could
right,
give a shit.
Yeah,
that's what we're here for. We're here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no,
Barry.
it's not true. That's not what astonishes me about this thing is that you have film of you and your kids when they were very, very young. Was that just like because you know parents like to have kid stuff, but
yeah, exactly.
It was also related though to what your hobby or you know devotion was to. Was there a lot more film with your kids and related to Megaforce way back when?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like it was just one of those things, right? Like some guys have Corvettes or horses, and I had Megaforce buggies, so it was always, you know, first prize at show and tells or car shows, or you know, and of course, yeah, they like hanging out with me. So right, there's tons of me and my son wrenching on the buggy, you know, and that was such a windfall when I realized the direction of the movie was, you know, kind of centered around my journey. It was just like, oh my God, like I have all this great stuff from back in the day when me and my kids were just kind of screwing off as a family, right? Like it had nothing to do with the movie at that time. So yeah, it was, yeah.
We had to convince you, Bob, that this was about you. If I remember, all along the way, you just wanted to make a making of. And all of a sudden, I think we realized before you did how this was really your story.
Yes.
And how, you know, and I think you were very reticent at one point to even commit yourself emotionally to this. Am I right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Right. Like, Cargill, you've made some films, right? Like I was much more comfortable hiding behind the camera. And of course, since it was just me doing everything, again, like there was a moment where I was like, oh balls, this, you know, with the feedback from my editor and Barry, they're just like, man, like you gotta talk about your dad, man. And I was like, are you kidding me? And of course they were 100% right. And that's why the film kind of transcends some sort of DVD special feature about the making of Megaforce, right? Because Megaforce is kind of the metaphor, a metaphor that everybody can get behind, you know, whatever their Megaforce is, right?
Well, I think what you're discussing here is the alchemy that makes the movie work the way it does, because that push and pull, you know, you not wanting to be navel gazing, you not wanting to make a movie about yourself, making it about what you're passionate about, and then the people who you're filming are like, no, you are part of this story too, and it all works out, because it's really interesting, because I didn't know exactly what I was getting into when I sat down to watch it, and
I bet, yeah,
watching it was like, oh, there is a bunch of making of here. Yeah, there are some, like I was jotting down, oh, I got to remember to ask Barry about this story, and then because he had told me the story, and there he is sharing the story. I'm like, well, don't need to ask about that now.
Oh, interesting.
But so you covered all the things. In fact, I think there's only one factoid that I know that wasn't in the movie, which was just that Hal originally wanted his best friend Bert to be commander, and Bert just didn't get it. And so Barry Bostwick's the Burt Reynolds you get when you don't have Burt Reynolds. And
Barry said I couldn't put that part in because he didn't want to be upstaged.
Wait a minute. I didn't even know that story, or if I did, I have forgotten it.
Well, I mean, the big one that we were joking about is Michael Douglas turned it down.
Yeah, that's what I thought was Michael Douglas. Where did Burt get involved? I mean,
Needham was living in his pool house at the time, and they were best friends. He lived in his pool house for 12 years after his wife threw him out. And
really?
Yeah.
And was he living in the pool house when we made Megaforce?
That I don't know. I don't know exactly which years. It may have been that time.
That would have been right after Cannonball Run 2. So there's a high likelihood he was probably, I mean, obviously him and Hal were best friends. So, you know, like Jerry Reed was supposed to be Dallas in the film until a week before shooting. Right. So like Hal Needham wouldn't go further than his doorstep to kind of cast his movies generally. So then when Burt said no, it was just like, holy cow, like, what are we going to do? Which is the great story about how Hal Needham's wife actually discovered you, Barry. Because Hal wouldn't have, right? He just would have gone to the next, it probably would have been Jack Gill, the stunt guy, as Ace Hunter instead of you.
Yeah. Was Selleck was he ever thought of for this? Was he on the list?
I don't know that'd be a good, yes, he was. He was, because he turned it down, and as an inside joke to pick on Tom Selleck, when they do the hologram of the girl coming out of the ocean in the movie, Barry, you're just saying, you haven't even.
No, I remember that.
Cargill knows what I'm talking about.
That's his wife. It's his wife.
Yeah. So the video of the girl coming out of the ocean is Tom Selleck's wife. The
one that he's still with.
I don't know that. He's not returning my calls. So
right. Yeah. I didn't know that was his wife. Really?
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Well, that's the next documentary. You gotta rebuild the Ferrari.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Wow.
Well, guys, thank you so much for sitting down with me today and talking about this. The movie's great. I can't wait for other people to see it and talk about it.
Yeah, I can't wait to share it at the film festival. It's going to be amazing. I'm so thankful. Yeah, and thank you for taking the time, man. That's great.
Hey, Smokey.
Yeah.
You got Speeder. That's his name. Speeder. Yeah. Bob is Speeder. You're Smokey, and I'm Ace, right? I mean, I guess Ace would be my middle, right? What would be my first name, Bob, if it wasn't Ace Hunter? Was there a name discussed?
There was. Your original first name is Dixon.
Dixon Hunter?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Nope.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus. Hey, Smokey, you've learned some things today that I didn't think I'd ever learn.
I have new Megaforce lore to carry forward, and I have a new Megaforce handle. So it was a good day. Kind of a rough day, and it's been a rough week, but now it's all picking up. It's looking up for me.
Well, thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you for coming.